My name is Lauren Mitchell. I'm 34 years old. 3 weeks ago, I stood at the front of a small chapel in a dress I paid for myself and stared at two empty seats in the front row, center aisle, reserved for my parents. Let me repeat that. Not late, not stuck in traffic. Empty. They didn't come. But here's the part that still doesn't make sense. 3 weeks before my wedding, they drove 6 hours to attend my younger brother Daniel's engagement party, stayed the entire weekend, smiled in photos, laughed like everything was perfect, and posted it all online like they were the best parents in the world. But a 25-minute drive to my wedding? Too difficult, my father said. I walked down the aisle anyway. My husband Ethan's mother held my arm, and everyone saw those empty seats. Everyone knew. And 3 weeks later, I emptied my parents' bank account. Not illegally, not emotionally, legally, completely. But before I tell you how I did that, you need to understand something. This didn't start at my wedding. It started when I was 7 years old, the day my brother Daniel was born, the day I slowly became invisible in my own family. I remember standing in that hospital room, watching my mother hold him like he was everything she'd ever wanted, like the world finally made sense. And I remember thinking if I stayed quiet, if I behaved, if I didn't cause any problems, maybe she would look at me like that too. She never did. The first time I really understood the difference between us, I was 8 and Daniel was 1. I had asked for a bike for my birthday. Nothing expensive, just something simple with a basket. That morning, I saw it. Blue frame, white tires, exactly what I wanted. My mom smiled and then wheeled it into Daniel's room. "He'll grow into it," she said. "You're old enough to understand." I got a $10 sketchbook. Daniel couldn't even walk yet, but that bike stayed in his room for years. I never touched it. I told myself it was fine, that things would change when he got older. But they didn't change. They got worse. By high school, the difference wasn't just emotional anymore. It was financial. Daniel went to a private academy, $22,000 a year. Small classes, better teachers, everything. I went to public school. Free. My mom said, "Lauren, you're independent. You'll be fine anywhere." And I was fine, because I had to be. I worked part-time after school, saved every dollar, while Daniel got dropped off every morning in a car my parents bought him at 16. A car worth more than everything I owned combined. I took the bus, in the rain, in the cold, still telling myself, it's fine. Then college came, and that's when the gap became impossible to ignore. I got into a state university with a partial scholarship, but I still had to take loans. By the time I graduated, I owed $48,000. Daniel got into the same university 2 years later, and my parents paid for everything. Tuition, rent, food, spending money. Over $60,000. I remember calling my dad one night during my sophomore year. There was a study abroad program in London. $5,000. I had saved half. I just needed help with the rest. He said, "Bad timing. Daniel needs a new laptop." That laptop cost $2,300, and he got it the same week. I stayed home, worked extra shifts, graduated with honors and debt. A lot of debt. But here's the part that still doesn't make sense. Even after all that, I still gave them money. Every month, $300. For 9 years, over $32,000. They called it help. I called it guilt. I never missed a payment, even when I was struggling to pay rent, even when I had to choose between groceries and electricity. I still sent it. They never said thank you. It was just expected, like I owed them for existing. Then I met Ethan in 2022. He noticed everything I had spent years pretending not to see. The way my parents ignored me, the way they lit up around Daniel, the way they treated me like I was optional. "You don't owe them anything," he told me. I said, "They're my parents." He said, "That doesn't mean they get to treat you like this." I wasn't ready to hear it. Not yet. Then came Daniel's engagement party in June 2025. My parents hosted it. $18,000 event. Catering, music, decorations, everything perfect. They asked me to help pay. Just a little, my mom said. I gave them $2,000. They promised they'd pay me back. They didn't. Then my wedding came. October 2025. Small, simple, meaningful. Total cost $11,500, all paid by me and Ethan. My parents didn't offer a single dollar. Not one. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mom called and asked what time it was, where it was. Like she hadn't seen the invitation I sent 3 times. That's when I felt it. That quiet realization sitting in my chest. They weren't coming. But I still hoped. I shouldn't have. 4 days before the wedding, my dad called and said, "We won't make it. No apology, no hesitation. Your mom isn't feeling well." I said, "It's a 25-minute drive." He said, "It feels longer." Then he said something I will never forget. "Daniel needs us right now." And that's when something inside me broke. Because in that moment, I realized the truth I had been avoiding my entire life. It was never about timing. It was never about distance. It was never about money. It was about choice. And they had been choosing him over me every single time. I said, "I understand," but I didn't. Not really. I hung up, opened my seating chart, and removed their names. I left those 2 seats empty on purpose, because I wanted everyone to see exactly who didn't show up and why. 3 weeks later, my father walked into my office holding a thick brown folder. No call, no message. Just showed up like nothing had happened, like he hadn't missed the most important day of my life, like those 2 empty seats didn't exist. I was sitting at my desk when my receptionist said, "Lauren, your dad is here." My heart dropped. He never came to my workplace. Not once. I walked out to the lobby, and there he was. Same calm face, same controlled voice, but his hands were shaking. "Lauren," he said, "we need to talk. Not, 'I'm sorry.' Not, 'I messed up.' Just, we need to talk." I led him into the conference room. Glass walls. Quiet. Cold. He sat down and placed the folder on the table like it weighed 100 pounds. I didn't sit. I just looked at him and said, "If this is about the wedding, you're 3 weeks too late." He avoided my eyes. "This isn't about the wedding. Of course it wasn't. It never is." "Then what is it?" I asked. He opened the folder slowly, carefully, like every movement mattered. "It's about your grandmother." I froze. My grandmother died when I was 14. That was 20 years ago. "Why are we talking about her now?" I asked. He slid a document across the table. "Your great-aunt passed away last month. There's an estate being settled." I nodded slowly. "Okay. And?" He hesitated. That's when I noticed it. The fear. Real fear. I had never seen my father scared before. "The estate attorney found something," he said. I felt my chest tighten. "Found what?" He pushed another document toward me. Official letterhead. Legal language. My name. Printed clearly at the top. "A trust," he said. "Your grandmother set up a trust in your name." I blinked. Once, twice. "What trust?" I asked, because I had never heard of it. Not once in my entire life. He swallowed. "An education trust from 2005. My hands went cold. "How much?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. That's when I knew it was big. "How much?" I repeated. 127,000, he said quietly. "Let me repeat that. $120,000 in my name for my education." I took out $48,000 in student loans. I worked 2 jobs. I skipped meals. And there was $120,000 sitting somewhere with my name on it. I looked up at him slowly. "Where is it?" I asked. Silence. Then he said something I will never forget. "We used it." Just like that. No hesitation. No shame. We used it. I felt something inside me go completely still. "Used it? On what?" I asked. But I already knew. Deep down, I already knew. He opened the folder and pulled out bank statements. Years of them. Your brother's education, mostly, he said. Mostly. I grabbed the papers and started reading. Private school payments, college tuition, apartment rent, study abroad fees. Every single withdrawal matched Daniel. Every single one. While I was filling out loan applications, they were spending my money on him. Lauren, we made the best decision for the family, he said quickly. The family? I whispered. It had my name on it. You were doing fine, he said. You had scholarships. You're strong. Strong. That word again. They didn't help me because I was strong. They helped him because he was weak. And somehow, that made it okay. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe it. I was strong because I had no choice, I said. I was strong because you gave everything that was mine to him. He didn't respond. He just reached into the folder again and pulled out another document. Clean, fresh, printed that morning. He slid it toward me. I need you to sign this. I looked down. Read it once, then again, and then a third time. It was a legal acknowledgement, stating that I had received the full $120,000 trust, that all funds were used appropriately for my education. I looked up slowly. You want me to lie? I want you to help your family, he said. If you don't sign it, the estate gets complicated. There could be investigations, delays, legal trouble. For who? I asked. He hesitated. For all of us. No, not all of us. For him, for my mother, for Daniel, the 3 people who benefited from stealing my future. You let me go into debt, I said quietly. You let me struggle for years. You missed my wedding. And now you want me to sign a paper saying you did nothing wrong? Lauren, don't make this bigger than it needs to be. Get out. He blinked. What? Get out! My voice didn't shake. Not this time. He stood up slowly, still holding on to control, still acting like he had power. But he didn't. Not anymore. He turned to leave, and in his panic, he forgot something. The folder. He left it on the table. Everything. The statements, the proof, the truth. I sat there alone for a long time, staring at it. Then I opened it again, carefully. And that's when I found something he didn't even know was inside. At the very bottom was a sealed envelope, yellowed with age, my name written in handwriting I hadn't seen in years. For Lauren, to be opened when she turns 18. Love, Grandma. My hands started shaking. I opened it, and what was inside that letter changed everything.